Jai Jinendra everyone. Good evening, namaste to you all. Thank you for joining us. We will start off with a short prayer, with a Nukar mantra. If you can all please join in. Namo Arihantaram, Namo Namo, Namo Sitaram, Namo Namo, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Namo, Namo Vachayanam, Namo Namo, Namo Loye Savasamunam, Namo Loye Savasamunam, Eso Panchanamukaru, Sarva Pava Panasanam, Mangalarancha Savesim, Padmam Havai Mangalam, Padmam Havai Mangalam. Welcome to the first of this careers workshop hosted by Shitana Vidyapith, part of Imperial UK, as well as UCL Jain Society and Imperial Jain Society. For some of you, it might be the first time that you are attending one of SCVP's events. So I'll give you a little bit of information about what SCVP does. So SCVP is the oldest Jain school in UK. We started off at least, I think, 1995 or 1996, when there were no other Jain pathshalas or Jain schools around in UK. If you speak to some of the prominent people within our community, like Vinod Bhai Kapashi or Mehboob Bhai Sangrashkar, they will tell you, because they were here at the beginning, Naveen Bhai Sangrashkar, and they were all here at the beginning when the school started. The school started on the blessings of Acharya Sri Channaji. She is the first Jain nun in the history of Jainism who's been kind of acknowledged with the status of Acharya. And it was with her blessings that she sent Sadhvi Sri Shilapiji Maharaj to London to do her studies in postgraduate studies. And when Sadhvi Shilapiji was here, she started off Shitana Vidyapith School, where while she was also studying, she was also teaching parents as well as children something about Jainism and the Jain way of life. And over 50 years on, Virayatan still continues, Shitana Vidyapith still continues. We carry out many various different activities. Virayatan runs by three pillars it believes in. Three pillars are of Seva, Siksha and Sadhana. So here in Shitana Vidyapith School, that's what we also follow, right? To do Seva, we are all volunteering here. The teachers, we have our list of volunteers who come every Friday evenings. We hold class in this hall, and at the moment, I think Vishal is here. Vishal, wave from the audience. Right, there's Vishal. Vishal Shah is running a meditation course at the moment for us. There's a couple of more sessions left this term. And every single term we have a different element of Jainism that we try to share with whoever is able to come and attend in person at this school on a Friday evening. Those who are not able to attend in person or who live far away, we also run quite a few online classes on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, sometimes Thursday as well, for children as well as for adults. Mondays we have a sutra class that we do online for children, and Tuesday, Wednesdays we've been running sutra class for adults. We've had yoga sessions or heart chakra sessions online as well. So that's a little bit about the education, the Siksha, as well as a little bit about the Seva. We do lots of different things throughout the year, where I think Christmas is coming shortly. In the past, over Christmas, we've kind of collected food for food banks, as well as we've collected toys to donate to hospices. Lots of us, go and do some tree planting. We've gone and taken our students to care homes and visited people staying there to also engage with them. And I guess every August, we run a Virayathan Volunteers program where we take a group of students to a particular Virayathan center in India, where they get a first-hand experience of what it's like to be living where the Sadhvijis are living. We've got quite a few different centers in India. Virayathan has one in Kutch, one in Bihar, one in Palitana. So it could be at any one of those sites, and it's like a 2-week program where the children get experience of teaching and also engaging with the children in the local schools over there and learning a little bit about Jainism. They do have to wake up very early in the morning. They connect with the Sadhvijis every single day. So it's brilliant. If you want to know a bit more, then you're welcome to join our WhatsApp group or join the bulletin as well. Follow us on the social media. I'd also like to welcome Deputy Mayor of Hertsmere, who's joining us today, as well as we've got one of the panelists who is, forgotten the terminology now, you're going to help me out, Vishal.
Deputy Escort of Hertsmere, Councillor.
Thank you. That's his mum, and he's the Deputy Escort of Hertsmere, as well as a councillor. So thank you so much for joining us, and I will hand over to Yash, who will speak to you a little bit about Imperial.
Sure. Hi everyone, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for being here. So my name is Yash Shah, and I'm a second year computer science student at Imperial College London, and I'm also lucky to be the president of Imperial Jain Society. So having come to SCVP school since I think I was born, ever since I was really young, I've loved learning, meeting loads of people here, and then sharing my knowledge at Imperial. So as you can see, this is our committee. We've had only a few events so far, but we've got loads more planned. So if any of you do end up joining Imperial in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, keep an eye out, make sure you contribute, and just really get involved, because I think it's dead, but can you all hear me? You okay?
I can turn it on.
Testing? Okay, brilliant. I just think that societies, especially ones where you've got a connection to, are the best way to get to know people, and also feel like you're part of a community. Just by running Imperial Jain Society, I've met so many people. I think everyone here is somewhat part of Imperial or UCL Jain Society, and it gives you a sense of purpose every week to kind of, contribute to a small event and make other people in the younger years enjoy the events. So today I just want to say a little bit about what we're here to do. So we're all university students or have knowledge of something in that process, and I think the key thing is just making sure you're here, be engaged, ask questions, because I think all of us genuinely learned a lot when we were in your shoes. We asked loads of questions, we spoke to people in years above, and I think that's what we're here to do. So just be comfortable, don't be shy. If you have any questions, feel free to approach some of us after the workshop. Because I think success obviously comes from working hard, but it's also about working smart and knowing the right tips and tricks. And I think we might not have all the answers, but I think anything we can provide is some of our tips and experiences that we've learned along the way. So I just want to say a huge thank you to the panel. If you guys could all stand up. They're all from UCL, Imperial, or a university nearby, and they're just here to share their time. So can we have a round of applause before we start? Okay, brilliant. So I'm going to pass over to Dev now, and I just said, please make the most of all the opportunities today, and thank you for coming.
Hi everyone, I'm Dev Ranka, and I wanted to start off by saying a big thank you to SCVP School and Virayathan for helping us organize this program. I would also like to thank Ayan Shah for his contribution, and Kajal Sheikh for her contribution as well. As a part of UCL Jain Society, I would like to thank all the panelists here today and Imperial Jain Society as well. As current president, I'm very proud to say that UCL Jain Society is a vibrant and inclusive society which looks to embody Jain values. Our mission is more than faith. It's about creating opportunities for our members and for the wider community for personal and professional growth. We hope workshops like these help to connect you and help you build skills that will guide you in the future. So without further ado, I'd like to start our first workshop today, which would be medicine by myself and actually Martin.
So, hi everyone, my name is Akshat. I'm a second year medical student, like Dev. And today we're going to be talking about medicine, the application process, timeline, and kind of general tips that we'd think that you guys would find helpful. So first of all, why medicine? So I'm sure a few of you in here will not be certain on what kind of career you'd like to go into, and so it is an incredibly rewarding career. Being able to look after patients is a really valuable and something that you can't really do in many other professions. And it's also a career with incredible job prospects, so after you graduate, you're in the NHS, and that's almost a 100% employability rate, which you won't get in other degrees. You also will have a passion for science and lifelong learning, and that's something that will continue throughout medicine. There's always going to be learning, whether you're in research or even as a doctor, as there's always stuff changing in the field. So I'm going to pass over to Deb, who's going to talk about course structures for medicine.
Picking the right course for yourself is very important. There are multiple different types of courses across all universities, and we will give you the resources that you need to analyze them. But broadly, there are three types. There is PBL, which is small group tutorial-based sessions, where you take a problem with your group, analyze it, break it down, understand the pathology, and that's how you learn. That is very popular at Manchester, for example. Then there is traditional. That is followed at Oxbridge, which is, again, small tutorials, but with a professor, a lot more one-to-one with your teachers, where you directly learn from them concepts and a lot more research focused. And then there is the integrated method, which is used at Imperial or UCL, which combines the best aspects of both types, of PBL and traditional. So it's very important to analyze a course structure and find which course is right for you. So basically, the application process and timeline is something we would love to explain to you all, because it is quite long-winded and quite complicated. So we'll hope to break it down for you in a very easy way. So essentially, what we would encourage you to all start is volunteering and work experience. This allows us to essentially unlock our commitment to community and show that. It also means that we get a realistic understanding of what a medical career is like. So, for example, I shadowed at a surgery, and actually I shadowed at GP clinics, for example. Then we would encourage you to read books. There are plenty of books which can help you analyze and understand the career of a doctor and get a better perspective on it. Essay competitions are something that we also encourage. Essentially, they help to show your academic prowess and, again, how much you've researched around the subject. Finally, I would also like to talk about the UCAT, which is between July and September. Essentially, that's our standard exam to help us essentially create a baseline to assess your ability for medicine.
So that's all kind of stuff that's going to go on during the summer. So that's the summer before year 13, before your application through UCAS. So regarding the UCAT, that's the University Clinical Aptitude Test. We'll go into that in a bit more detail later on. And then if you're lucky to get an interview, those will be between November and March. It varies from university to university, and each university will also hold these interviews throughout a different time during that period. Offers will be made from March onwards roughly. Oxbridge do it a lot earlier in January, and then that will be an offer. The standard medicine offer is A-star AA or AAA, and that will be given again January, March time. And then results day, which I think in 2025 is the 14th of August, that will be when you accept your offer if you make the grades, and that's the kind of end of the application process, and then you begin kind of getting into it towards university. So about the personal statement, This is what you do on UCAS, this is what you upload onto UCAS, and it's kind of you're answering a number of questions, which we've written out over there. You have 4,000 characters, which is not a lot. So what you'll find is that you end up going over that during your drafts, and then you cut stuff out. So that's where you talk about your volunteering, work experience, any books you've read, any other experiences which you find useful in your application towards medicine, and you put all of that in your personal statement, and then universities can refer to that during your interviews and also while they're assessing whether you'd be a good candidate. And you talk about your motivation, working experience and volunteering, like I said, and skills and competencies, for example, teamwork, leadership, and kind of interpersonal skills like empathy.
So the UCAT is essentially the Universal Clinical Aptitude Test. In this, you've got a sort of timeline which you have to work through. So 14th of May, you'd open your account. Then from 18th June till 19th September, you can book a test for yourself. Then the exam dates are from 8th July to 26th September. In that period, you should take a test. Then we always sort of discuss a wagon wheel type of approach to your UCAT preparation. So that begins with a mock test at sort of a Medify or a Medic Portal, one of these sort of softwares. Begin with a mock test, judge your baseline. Then analyze your strengths and weaknesses, do some practice questions, do some mock tests based on just those sections alone, and then do another mock test and see how you've done. And then repeat that whole process again and again until you reach your desired score. We suggest around 2,900 plus. Because we've moved away from the BMAT, the UCAT has gotten a lot more competitive, so it's always better to shoot for a much higher score, and Band 2 plus for the SJT is what we would suggest. It's very important for you to go through how the technique of the UCAT, understanding how to use the test calculator, how to think on your feet, the verbal reasoning sections, all the different sections. So it's always good to get a long preparation time from around 4 to 6 weeks is the suggested amount.
So there is a lot more to talk about for the UCAT, but we'd have to probably have a completely different talk to go into everything. So we'll move on to volunteering, work experience and extracurriculars. So you need to, like Dev said earlier, show your commitment to the community. This can be things like going to volunteering at care homes, community centres, charity shops, hospices. So for example, I did a 6-month placement at a hospice where I was a ward support volunteer. I also volunteered in a charity shop, and these kind of skills is what you talk about in your personal statement and you talk about at an interview. You also should shadow doctors, so whether this is a family member you know, you can also apply directly through hospitals to doctors to shadow them, and getting this kind of experience will also show you if medicine is a career that you would enjoy by watching doctors do what they actually do in the hospital. Things like basic life support, I know British Red Cross do this, and that's just another skill you can learn, showing your personal statement that you've actually looked into the field and what you can do. But anything that shows competencies, so that's, like I said earlier, leadership, teamwork, anything you've done that really reflects those skills, that'll be really useful to include in interview preparation and just in general.
So interviews, this is probably the most difficult stage. UCAT is very intensive, but this is the thing that will really separate you apart and secure your seat. So interviews usually run from November to March across most major medical schools. There's different dates for different universities and different offers given out, but that's sort of all explained on their websites and promotional material. Now the resources that I would recommend are the Medic Portal, very good resources on there for you to understand things about the NHS, medical ethics, everything that you would need for a very comprehensive overview of medicine in the UK. We'd also suggest the Guide to Medical Interviews book, which is very good as well. And Medify also has some resources. So there's plenty of resources to go through. Essentially, there's 2 types of interviews. There's the MMI, which is multiple mini interviews which run in a circuit. Each circuit station has a different question or group of questions, and they all judge usually skills, motivation for medicine, all things which are analysed on the personal statement in a bit more depth. There's also the panel interview, which is where you'll get 3 or 4 or 5 panelists all asking you different questions, and that's a continuous stream of questions with a continuous save panelists. Oxbridge interviews in particular are a bit more science and skill based, so they have a slightly different preparation, and there are particular resources for them.
So in terms of A-levels, this is still a significant part of the application process, but it's separate from all the other things going on, like interviews, UCAT, as such. So for most medical schools, I think it's pretty much all of them, UCL definitely, you need to do biology and chemistry A-level, and maths is, I think, the most common third A-level taken, but you can have people doing psychology or anything really. It doesn't matter too much as long as you have biology and chemistry. And some people do choose to take a fourth A-level. It's really not required at all. There are people out there who say you have to do it. It does not make a difference to the application process, as universities look a lot more at your UCAT and your interviews instead of if you've done 4 A-levels rather than 3. So most offers that are given out by universities will be A-star AA or AAA, unless you're a contextual student, in which case it might be lower. But in general, your predicted grades should be around A-star, A-star A, or above ideally. But that's not to say that if you didn't have that, you can't get an offer.
So next I would like to introduce the Sciences talk, which is by Tanisha Patel and Arun Shah. So if you both could just come up, please. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Tanisha, and I'm a first year natural sciences student.
Hello, I'm Arham and I'm a first year theoretical physics student, and we'll be talking about sciences today. Okay, so basically the first thing you'll need to understand is the structure of any science degree. Most of them are 3-year BSc courses, and with most universities offering 4-year master's equivalents. What these are like integrated master's courses. They allow you to complete your master's within your bachelor's by taking like a year extra. There's also options to take a 4-year BSc course, which allows you to have a placement here, which is essentially a work experience here. Grades vary. The requirements for these courses vary, but they're generally between A, B, and above. So for Imperial and Oxbridge and UCL, they're generally A-star, AA, and above. First of all, colleges offer lots of options with science. I mean, this is an overview of all the courses at UCL, of all the science courses at UCL. There's philosophy and computer science, so there's variety. You don't only have to pick one stream and stick with it. I know for a fact that UCL offers courses like maths and physics and things like that. So, I mean, if you're interested in multiple subjects, that's also a possibility. There's also generally no interviews except for Oxbridge, and no, I don't think Imperial has them either. So there's only Oxbridge interviews. One of the reasons you might want to do a science degree is that they're intensive and extensive. So they go really in depth, they teach you a lot of things, and it's very intellectually stimulating, and you might find it intellectually rewarding if you're into learning a lot and you really want to understand why things work the way they do. So required subjects for the science degree are at least 2 sciences or 1 science plus math, depending on the kind of science you want to do. So for physics, the requirements are science and math, and then you can have whatever other subject you want. So things to consider when you're choosing a science degree is how active a university is in that field. For example, physics has a really active astrophysics department, and so on and so forth. And there's a link that can give you access to all of the UCL courses, and I don't know if this PPT is going to be shared with you or not, but you all can click that and get information about the courses if it is. Thank you.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about my degree specifically because it's a little bit different to like some of the other science degrees. So essentially it allows me to do multiple areas of science all at the same time. And so the first time you take 3 general streams, which are from these. So you could pick 3 of these, any combination, as long as you have the right A-levels. And you basically get to trial the subject out before you actually take it. So you take this for 1 term, and then the next term you take 2 specific streams. So for example, I do physics at the moment. I do physics, bio, and chem. And next term I would take astrophysics from physics and molecular and cell biology from biology. So the list of like everything you can take and combine is up there. Most of these can be combined with each other, but they have like a couple. It's like you won't be able to combine everything, so you can't combine like astrophysics and medical physics, for example. But it basically lets you pick a more specific degree. So like let's say you liked cell biology from biology, but you don't like plant biology, for example. This would let you take exactly what you wanted without having to do the rest of it. So if you know what you want to do, it lets you kind of take that. My requirement was A-star AA, but it depends on what A-levels you do, and you can only pick subjects based on what A-levels you do as well. So like, if you want to pick physics, you have to have done physics A-level, but it is something to consider because it's a bit different. In third year, and second and third year, you basically, from your two streams that you pick, you can have a major and a minor. So if you're not sure which one you like more, if you want to trial both of them out, you can continue doing both of them 50-50 and then switch to one of them when you decide, okay, yeah, I like this subject more, I want to do my master's in it, for example. I'm going to pass.
Okay, so we discussed personal statements for medicine earlier. The overall structure remains largely the same, but for sciences and specific, you would want to talk about the base goal of the personal statement is to convey your passion for the subject and to support that passion for the subject by the activities you've done. So I would suggest carrying out research, taking internships and the sort, reading a lot of books, writing about those, if you know the field you want to go into. Apart from that, you want to try and expand beyond A-level knowledge, because all the students applying for your course will have the same A-levels as the prerequisites. So you want to show further dedication and go past that. You want to show that you know other things as well. And one of the main ways to do that is, again, research. Science degrees value research a lot because that's what you will mainly be doing in your degree. Apart from that, the general structure for a personal statement is mostly focused on academics and your extracurriculars, or like most universities like to call them supercurriculars. They're basically things that you do solely for a degree. Like you won't mention cricket or something like that in your personal statement because it's not really relevant to your degree. I would suggest in your personal statement you want to keep 4 paragraphs maximum, with 3 of them being academic and focused on your supercurriculars, and one of them allowing you to showcase your extracurriculars as well, and how you would use those extracurriculars for the subject or the course you want. And that's it. You want to show a variety of topics, you know a variety of topics, and that you really, really want the degree, and that you would do well at the university as well. That's basically the overview of what to write in a personal statement. And I would also suggest lastly that you want to make it personal, you want to tie it to yourself. So using something like ChatGPT or making it very robotic doesn't really help, because universities don't want a robot written essay, they want to know who you are. And that's basically all I would suggest. That doesn't mean you can't use ChatGPT though, it's just that you want to take inspiration from it. You don't want your essay to be largely based on it. And these are some examples of extracurriculars and experience. You can use Oxford Frontiers for an outreach program, or you can work in conjunction with a charity. You can use projects done in a club or society at your school, or if you've held any leadership position in your school, to bolster your personal statement. And yes, I think this is a good overview of the topic.
So you can apply for sciences at Oxbridge. Between the 2 unis, it does vary. Both tend to require entrance exams, but the entrance exams are different for different subjects. So like for physics at Oxford, you might take the PAT, but for physics or biology or chemistry at Cambridge, you might take the ESAT. Oxford and Cambridge. So Cambridge has a much more broad kind of degree style. So pretty much all science is a part of natural sciences there. They might have, I think, chemical engineering is different, but all other sciences come under natural sciences. But at Oxford, it's very specific. Like if you want to apply for physics, you can only do physics. You can't do like a conjunction of both of them. Same with medicine, Oxbridge applications are in early October. You have to have applied for all of your unis at the same time. So you can't just apply for your Oxbridge one and then apply the rest of them later. So you have to think about that in advance. You have to know like what kind of unis you want to apply to, like in general, not just the one. Interviews tend to be early December. You might have 2 interviews or sometimes 3 interviews, but they'll be within a week of each other. Sometimes you might get pulled, which is when you don't make it initially for the college that you applied to, but maybe another college might want you, so you basically end up in a selection of candidates that your interviewers thought were good enough to get through, but your college might not have had enough space, so you might get accepted into a different college. You do need to look into this though, because when you apply, they do make you specify a college, and it is better to put a specific college on your application than to have a general application. So you should definitely look at the Oxford, Cambridge websites. You should see what kind of colleges they have, which one might suit you. Different colleges have different sizes, different subjects that they specify in, different locations. So make sure you look into that too. With Cambridge, a lot of people who apply there tend to get interviews, but very few make it, get a place after the interview. But with Oxford, it's the other way around. So if you get an interview, there's a good chance you'll get a place. I would recommend going to visit both of them. Make sure you ask lots of questions, you visit their open days, find out what kind of requirements you need. With all of the science stuff, if you put it into Google, you will find lots of resources with the personal statement things, with the Oxbridge things, so just make sure you research it. I'm going to pass on to engineering now.
Hello everyone, I'm Ayan Shah. I'm a first year biochemical engineer.
Hi everyone, I'm Manmay and I'm also a biochemical engineer, first year at UCL.
And we're going to talk about engineering as a whole. Okay. So there are 6 major streams in engineering. Civil centres around the design and structure of infrastructure projects such as bridges, wind turbines, airports and sewage systems. Mechanical looks at design, construction and maintenance of engines and machines, such as the production of car engines. Electrical engineering focuses on the design and application of electrical components within the system, for example, the design of navigation systems.
Chemical engineering is the production and manufacturing of products using chemical processes. This includes design of processes to turn raw materials to useful products. Example, producing ammonia and Haber process using nitrogen and hydrogen. Biomedical engineering is the application of engineering principles to solve biological and medical problems or medical care. For example, pacemakers in heart or prosthetic legs. Computer science is a study of computational systems, which includes algorithms that make up software and how software interacts with hardware, and how hardware is designed and developed. For example, design algorithms to optimize search engines. But why would you want to do engineering? For me personally, engineering is a discipline that transforms theory into practical solutions, contributing meaningfully to the betterment of the society.
There are many new engineering disciplines that have stemmed from these major 6 existing ones. For example, material science is a combination of mechanical engineering and chemical engineering, which focuses on the design and improvement of materials of all different kinds of engineering. The king of engineering for us is biochemical engineering, the course that we do, which is a mix of chemical engineering, bioengineering, and biotechnology.
Biochemical engineers design ways for getting cells to make useful products through processes such as genetic engineering, synthetic biology, and cell culturing in bioreactor.
Some other projects are lab-grown meat, regenerative organs, biofuels. As you can see, this is very, very cool.
And tissue engineering, vaccines, and other medicines and biodegradable plastics. UCL specifically has an engineering program called the IEP, where all engineering departments come together to work on interdisciplinary projects. In the first year, all engineering disciplines have mathematical modeling and analysis, and design and professional skills, as well as scenario weeks and engineering challenges. In scenario weeks, you get to make ice cream or visit factories where you learn how to produce stuff. This term, all engineers are planning to set up a vaccine plant in Uganda for tuberculosis. The engineering department also offers minors from second year onwards, which is compulsory, and these are some options.
So after hearing us, if you're interested in a degree in engineering, here's what you can do. So think about your current hobbies and interests, any life experiences you've had, or any future career plans that you have, and see which engineering field aligns best with your interests. Look at your current skills and qualifications and see what you need to improve on for your application in that specific engineering field. Make sure you achieve high predicted grades, especially if you're aiming for a top 5 university or Oxbridge. You'll need minimum 3 A's. You must also work on building your extracurricular portfolio. Everyone has good grades, it's the extracurriculars that make you stand out. You can read books, take a Coursera course. What I did specifically was I ventured out of all of that and I took a placement week at the Into Science company with the Francis Crick Institute. I also did a week at the Diamond Light Source, which is a particle accelerator in Oxford. I did the Crest Gold Awards and the EDT Engineering Week. Of course, you guys don't have to do all of this. And you can do the UCL online engineering workshops called Spring into STEM.
For interviews, as far as I know, UCL doesn't do any interviews for the engineering department, but Imperial will do interviews, and about 40% of applicants get interviews. And in my interview, I had a 30-minute one-to-one interview, and then I had a group interview, like a group project. So they gave us a research paper, and you had to work on it within a team of like 3 or 4 people. And after you get an interview, there's a 70% chance that you'll get accepted into the course. And thank you for listening, everyone, and good luck.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So my name is Drew Shah, and I'm going to give you kind of a whistle-stop tour into applying to history and then the pathway of using history to do a career in law. So generally, you need 3 A's to do history at university, except Cambridge and Durham where you need A star AA. However, I would recommend for your predicted grades, try and aim for 3 A stars, 2 A star A, because for most universities you don't need an admissions assessment except for Oxbridge. The Oxford admissions assessment, the way it kind of works is you would submit your personal statement, and for Oxford you have to take a HATS, which is the history aptitude test, and then your second stage would be the interview. For Cambridge, you do your personal statement and then you get invited to take the assessment and then the interview. So, with regards to some application tips, for a personal statement, first of all, make sure it's based kind of completely on history, and your extracurricular stuff put at the end, maybe a few extra things. What I'd recommend is pick a topic and do further readings on that topic. It's about your supercurricular. Go into lots of detail, so you may have studied one thing at A-level. For instance, I studied Luther. Something I enjoyed with Luther was kind of the printing press in Germany in the 1500s, so I did extra reading on that. And actually the reading I did on that I'm now doing right now at university. So you really need to go into kind of detail with your readings and have that chain of exploration. With regards to the admission assessments, for both Oxford and Cambridge, they tend to be source-based. To kind of practice for that, you kind of can do some practice papers, but kind of reading yourself, looking at sources, trying to understand it, talking about it with your teachers, with your friends, can really help. But one thing about this admission assessment, there is no set formula. There's no kind of marks scheme, there's no answers. So it really is kind of exploring yourself and kind of showing what you actually understand about a source. And finally, kind of in terms of the interview, it does vary from college to college for Oxbridge, depending on what you depending on what you pick. But the most important thing is know your personal statement inside and out. You're going to be talking to professors who have studied this time period for 20, 30, 40 years. They know the subject, so you're really going to need to know it as well. So why study history? Like, I'd say most people actually say history is kind of a useless subject. I got that a lot. It's not. You get a lot of universal skills from it: critical thinking, communication, problem solving. Most people that do history will go into kind of law, go into finance, and actually nowadays 50% of the intake at law firms come from a non-law background, and most of that is from a history degree. History gives you that different way of thinking that law firms actually enjoy, because law students, they tend to kind of stick to the book, stick to the letter of the law. History allows you to kind of think outside the box and think commercially, which I'll speak about in a minute. So, I'm going to just give you kind of a quick whistle-stop tour about the application to become a commercial lawyer. So in your first year, you'll kind of do open days and insight schemes. That'll take place in the spring term and kind of over the summer. At these open days, the kind of main aim for it is for you to get a feel of the firm, understand the culture, the type of work they do, the practice areas, the people. It goes two ways. It's not just about you kind of the firm liking you, it's about you liking the firm. And that's what you really need to take away from these days. There's a few different types of firms. There's magic circle firms, there's silver circle firms, there's US firms, and there's mid-market regional firms. And at these open days, you also get the opportunity to kind of decide which type of firm you want to go to. In your second and third year, you'll then apply to vacation schemes. This is a kind of 2 or 3 week scheme which takes place in the winter, the spring, or the summer, and you kind of get kind of hands-on with the legal work that firm does. You really get to understand their practice areas, you get to do the work they do, meet trainees, meet partners. And this is a great opportunity to really show the firm what you're made of and why you would be a great candidate for them. Lots of law firms now actually convert you into a training contract, which is essentially a job after the vacation scheme. So this is a really good opportunity to kind of perform and show why you're best for them. After kind of finishing your 3 years doing your history degree, you'll then do a PGDL, which is the law conversion. This is a 1-year law conversion where you kind of do the kind of essentials needed to take law as a career. After that, assuming that you've got your training contract, you'll then become a trainee at a law firm where you'll do SQE, SQE1 and SQE2, which is the 2 exams to become a practicing solicitor. And you also do a seat rotation, which is 4 to 6 seats in different practice areas, which could be litigation, M&A, lots of different things, depending on the firm. And you also get the opportunity to do a secondment abroad, which could be anywhere around the world for these international law firms. So, with regards to an application to a law firm, I'm just going to give you like a few kind of tips and tricks that I've kind of seen so far that can help you. One of the key things is be authentic. They are getting hundreds and thousands of applications. You really do need to stand out. And what I'd recommend is use the open days to find the practice area, find what you like about the firm, and that shows the firm that you actually have an interest in them. It's not just about an interest about becoming a lawyer, it's not just an interest about going to one of the best firms in the country that gives you a high wage. It's about really wanting to work there and fitting in with their culture. Every application should be different, and that's why it's essential you actually take advantage of these open days and first year schemes, because it really will set you apart. Another important thing while you're kind of doing your history degree or any other non-law degree is you need to build your commercial awareness. This is basically the understandings of the inner workings of a business and markets. You can do this by reading the Financial Times, looking at BBC, looking at podcasts. This is one of the most essential things at law firms, because it isn't just it's not just about the law, it's about how do you apply the law for these businesses, how can you really help them, and that's what they look for. And that's everything, and if there's any questions, let me know at the end. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Kishan. I'm currently a 3rd year economics and stats student at UCL. So I think the most important piece of advice I can give you is to start off early. So the fact that many of you are here already shows your dedication and wanting to start early in the subject. So as you can see here, I've done a course in Forage, and I would recommend that to you guys as well. So this is actually a part of my own CV where I've referenced this course that I've done back in July 2023. I also kind of say to do some volunteering opportunities. You might not be able to do some opportunities within finance, but anything related will do as well. The final piece of advice on getting started early is create a LinkedIn account. This will allow you to build your network early on. So to enter the industry, your first port of call would be to apply to these insight programs. These usually start opening up for pre-university students, so we're talking year 12 and 13. Only some firms do this though, for example HSBC. Once you start your first year, and your degree can be in many different majors. We've got economics, law, philosophy, even med. And during your first year or a second year, if you're on a 4-year course, you apply to these spring weeks. So within these spring weeks, they'll give you a flavor for what the industry is about, the values of the company, and just the overall insight. So after that, during your second year or third year, if you're on a 4-year course, which is called a penultimate year, you'll start applying to summer internships. These usually open up in about August or September, so make sure to get in there and get many applications done as possible. It's really a numbers game, and you just have to apply to as many as possible and see how you do. So you may be asking, how do you find out about all these opportunities, so spring weeks and summer internships? And here I have the LSE or Bristol tracker, and a picture of that is on the screen there. So it's basically just a spreadsheet containing all the links and dates and all the key information that you need to be applying to these opportunities. Yeah, that's it. I would also suggest to follow Young Pro UK on Instagram. These guys give you a lot of information related to online courses and webinars that you can join regularly. Finance is a very competitive industry. There's a lot of people applying from all different majors, as I just mentioned. So you need to be making sure that you stand out. So there are many ways to do this. So you need to be understanding the different roles and the skills needed for each one. Not all jobs in finance are the same. They require different skill set depending on what you actually apply to. Another way to making sure you stand out is to keep on top of your financial news and commercial awareness. You could do this quite easily by researching on YouTube or reading up on the Financial Times. You can build up your other skills as well. So we've got hard skills which contain like coding or building these models that you might use in your job, but also soft skills that you could apply to any job. For example, we've got communication and time management.
Hi everyone, my name is Dylan and I'm going to talk about careers in finance. So first of all, I would just like to understand who here in the audience is interested in a career in finance. If you don't know, that's also okay. Okay, not many people. Well, hopefully this can change after the presentation. So first of all, a quick introduction about myself. I graduated from LSE back in 2021 and I studied maths with economics. So this is a joint honours degree spanning maths, statistics, economics and finance. I highly recommend the course and it really spurred my interest in the financial industry. Then shortly after graduation, I worked at Bloomberg for about 1.5 years as a data analyst. And then I made the decision to switch to asset management. And I currently work at T. Rowe Price, which is an American asset manager, where I've now been working for just over 2 years. I also, outside of work, I also run my part-time tutoring business, and I'm also a big sports fan and music fan. Anything with a bat and ball, I love to play, whether that's tennis, badminton or cricket. And music-wise, I love to play the guitar and the piano, and sing as well. Okay, so I thought I would talk a bit about the buy side and the sell side to start off. When it comes to finance, it's a really broad field, and it can be quite intimidating at first, so I would say that buy side and sell side are the two key phrases you'll hear when it comes to finance related conversations. So starting with the buy side, this is the area that I work in, and really it's all about managing clients' money. And typically there are a range of clients which come to buy-side firms. These typically include institutions like pension funds, insurance companies, sovereign wealth funds, but there are also companies which have private wealth management divisions and deal with high net worth clients as well. And really the overarching goal of the buy side is to manage clients' money, to invest it in stocks, bonds, or other assets as well, like commodities, real estate, private equity as well, and gain a return better than saving your money in a bank account. Now, on the sell side, this, as it says in the name, this is really about selling securities to clients on the buy side. So I would say a key aspect of the sell side is raising money for corporates. So just as an example, let's say a company like Tesla wants to build a factory to expand its business, but it needs to raise money in order to do so. So how can it do this? Well, it can approach an investment bank where the investment bank will help the company issue stock or bonds to raise money. So this is called underwriting, and it's a key aspect of the sell side. And if you were to pursue a career in investment banking, this would be a key part of the role. Another key service offered by the sell side or investment banks in general is M&A. This is typically what people think about when it comes to investment banking. And this is all about advising businesses on what businesses to buy or merge with, what parts of the business to sell as well. Okay, so now moving on to roles in finance. Now, I just want to start off by saying that there really is a wide range of roles in finance, and I do encourage all of you to be open-minded. And while you're still young and you're early in your career, I encourage that you explore different career options, because quite often I meet individuals who are quite fixated on a particular career, but believe it or not, there are many other careers there may be another career that is actually right up their alley. So being open-minded is a key trait I think people should have for when you're early in your career. But having said that, I just thought it'd be useful to list out some of the front office, middle office, and back office roles. So when it comes to front office roles, this typically includes investment banking. So as I mentioned, this involves typically raising money for corporations by issuing stocks or bonds, initial public offerings, so helping companies when they want to go public for the first time, mergers and acquisitions. Then we have equity research as another front office role. This is a role which is on the buy side and the sell side, and really that's all about analyzing companies, looking at their financials, looking at the balance sheet, the income statement, the cash flow statement. And one thing I would also like to touch on with equity research, given that I work in this area, is this area has changed a lot over time. And there are different types of equity research. So the equity research that we do at my company, at T. Rowe Price, is typically fundamental research. So this involves really going to the companies around the world, speaking to the management, looking at the financials and seeing whether it's a worthwhile investment. But there are also other areas of equity research, such as quantitative equity research, which is more for the technically inclined. And that's also a great career opportunity, in my opinion. It's all about leveraging data science, machine learning techniques to unlock patterns within data and find unique trading ideas or investment ideas. And lastly, when it comes to front office, we have sales and trading. If you're a people person, sales is a great possible way for you to start your career. It's all about building and maintaining relationships with clients and providing them with investment recommendations or trade advice. And when it comes to trading, that's all about, well, as it says, buying and selling securities, whether that's equities or bonds. You can also have other funky securities like derivatives, but I won't go into too much detail with that. But apart from the front office, there are many other roles at an asset management firm or an investment bank or another financial institution. You've got roles in risk, accounting, technology, and as I said before, I really think it's important that you stay open-minded because any one of these roles could be a good fit for you. So it's important that while you're early in your career, you explore as much, you leverage your network, speak to your friends, your family, reach out on LinkedIn to try and understand the different roles because it is quite a big area to go into when you first start. Okay, so moving on to skills required. I would say to have a career in finance, there isn't really a specific degree that you need most of the time. But generally speaking, one thing that I have seen in common is that people have strong analytical skills and they're also highly numerate. So whatever you do choose to study at university, if you do want to pursue a career in finance, I definitely think these are skills which are worth developing. Furthermore, you should have good verbal communication skills, written communication skills, should be a good team player. And I think in order to develop this at university, I think it's important you get involved in societies, whether that's a finance society or the Jain Society, it doesn't really matter. But when it comes to an interview, you can use these experiences to demonstrate your team working skills and your communication skills, because these are definitely transferable in finance. And perhaps one of the most important skills or traits that I think are required is having a positive attitude and a positive work ethic. When you have a career in finance, I would say most of the learning is done on the job. A lot of the things you learn at university are quite theoretical, but when you're on the job, that's when you learn most, in my opinion. So being hungry at the job, asking questions, showing a deep interest in whatever job you're doing, that I think is one of the most important traits to have to succeed and also to progress up the career ladder, as it's very competitive. And lastly, I'd just like to give some of my top tips, having worked now in finance for maybe 3 to 4 years. As you can see, my top bullet point is networking. This is definitely an important skill. Not just for finance, but really for any career. But it's really important that early on, you make the most of your network, whether that's your family, your friends, or just reaching out to people on LinkedIn. It's important to connect with people, understand what they do, because finance is a very broad industry, and there are lots of different roles. So making the most of your network is definitely crucial. Secondly, joining finance and business-related societies. This will definitely help boost your understanding in terms of what's available at different financial institutions. And it will also help build your team working skills, your communication skills, which are definitely transferable. Coding. I think coding is being used increasingly in finance. In my job now, I would say coding is a large part of my role, as I am involved in doing a lot of data-driven research for portfolio managers, for investment analysts, and also making processes more efficient. So coding is definitely a good skill to have, I would say. Obviously, if you want to go and do a software engineering role in finance, then perhaps your whole day is focused on coding. But even if it's not software engineering, coding is now being increasingly used to help with making investment decisions, because there is now so much more data than before. Being open-minded, I've mentioned this before, but I just want to emphasize it. There are so many different roles, so don't just be fixated on one role. When you are young, you're not too sure what career or what area of finance you want to go into. That's totally normal. I just want to emphasize that. So just be open-minded, speak to people, and try things out. And then maybe 10 years down the line, when you start to have a family and kids, then you can settle down. But I think when you're early in your career, it's important to be open-minded. And applying early. So a lot of firms have rolling applications. So as soon as their cohort is filled, they will no longer accept applications. So it's very important to apply early. Getting a job in finance is now it's getting increasingly competitive, because lots of people from Europe and from around the world want to work in London in finance, with London being, a financial hub. So with that being said, it's important to apply early, get your CV prepared, early. You know, use your careers consultancy at your university to try and boost your chances. And lastly, I would say be resilient. I think this is perhaps my biggest tip to all of you. When it comes to applying for finance jobs, as I said, it is very competitive, and rejection is completely natural. It's a part of the process. What matters is how you pick yourself up after rejection, okay? So don't beat yourself up when you get a rejection. That's totally normal, given that there are just a sheer number of applicants for each role. You know, some of these financial institutions, like investment banks and hedge funds, they receive hundreds of thousands for one place from around the world. So it's completely natural not to get your first choice, and that's completely okay. But what matters is how you pick yourself up and you continue to grind and you apply for other roles. Okay, I'll leave it there and I'll hand it over to Jackson.
So I'm Josh, and I'm a second year computer science student at UCL.
And hi everyone again, I'm Yash. I hope you're not too tired and you're still paying attention. So we're going to speak about computer science. So as I said, I study at Imperial, Josh is at UCL. Our names are very similar, so... Okay, so we're going to start by just saying what is computer science and why study it, because I'm sure all of you have heard of coding being increasingly used, just as Dylan's mentioned. But why would you want to study it? So I guess if I had to summarize it in one sentence, I'd say that computer science is learning to think like a problem solver. So there isn't one specific part of computer science that everyone does, but I think it's that idea of you get a problem, you're initially stuck, you don't know where to go, and then how can you apply your skills, whether it's coding, analyzing the data, whatever it might be, and then getting a solution out and then presenting that solution. So just as a show of hands, does anyone here know how to code even a little bit? No worries if not. Oh wow, okay. Loads of people. That's brilliant. And I kind of want to say that you don't need to be able to code to study computer science. It sounds counterintuitive, but I think Josh and I, both of us we'd had experience with a little bit of coding, but we weren't expert coders since the age of 5, for example. So it's definitely something you can pick up and you can learn on the job, as Dylan said. So I'd say it's a tool to implement solutions, but the main thing why study computer science is that you can combine your hobbies and your career in one, which I find really unique. I think for me personally, why did I study computer science? Well, when I was growing up, I always wanted to be a doctor. So, medicine and computer science, very different fields. But as I kind of was getting to A-levels, I kind of realized maybe medicine isn't right for me, but computer science can combine the passions of medicine and computer science in one. Whether it's, your hobbies as well. For example, I love cricket. I was thinking, how can I combine cricket and computer science? So this summer I was actually interning at my favorite cricket team, Rajasthan Royals, and applying data science and coding to injury prevention. So it kind of shows you how unique it might be. Okay, great. Okay, brilliant. Okay, this is a diagram which I drew. It's kind of just a rough guideline. What I would say is that in your year 12 summer, or even year 11 summer, this is kind of what you want to do to split your time. Again, it's a complete guideline. You don't have to follow it exactly. But the admissions test for computer science at university is one of the crucial or the most important parts of the process. So I would say you dedicate 40% of your time, especially in summer holidays, to preparing for that admissions test. Then 30% is, I've written projects. You don't necessarily have to do coding projects, but it's kind of developing those super curriculars that everyone previously has spoken about, whether it's reading books, building a website if that's what interests you, listening to podcasts, kind of building that overall idea of why do you want to study computer science. Then I'd say 20% is your A-levels. That might sound counterintuitive, but in the summer of just before you're applying to university, A-levels are really important, but I'll say the other 70% is actually quite a lot more important. And lastly, 10% is, combined with the 30%, is your personal statement and developing the extracurriculars, whether it's your hobbies, your passions, having that in the personal statement.
So most universities require either 1 A star or 2 A stars, and the rest can be A's. And out of the A stars, at least one of the A stars has to be mathematics or further mathematics. I think Oxford is the one that requires computer science as well, but most universities don't require computer science as an A level. And for Oxford, you need to set the MAT exams, and for UCL, from this year, you need to set the STAT exams, which is basically again mathematics exams. So it's basically sort of your A levels, but it's going to be a bit harder.
And similarly, if we just go to the next slide. I'm just going to talk briefly about these two universities. So I'm at Imperial, and I'll just give it bias. It was the second best university in the world, so it's definitely a really good university to go to. But we've also got Cambridge, Warwick, the three that Josh mentioned. So the A-level requirements are quite high, and don't be intimidated by these, because I think as you get to know your subjects, you realize once you start enjoying them, getting the A-star is possible. So it's normally A-star, A-star A, or sometimes A-star AAA if you're doing 4 A-levels. But I would say the key point is this example, the TUMUA, or the TMUA. So I'm not sure if anyone's heard of it, but essentially it's a multiple choice maths exam, but most universities now are requiring it. As you can see, all 3 of these top universities do require it. Before we move on, just a quick note. I'm sure many of you are quite keen to look at the rankings of all these universities and kind of say, I want to go to the top 5 university, which is definitely great, and I'd recommend that. But what I would say is, don't just apply to the university based on the rank. If it's at number 1 or number 2, that doesn't mean anything to you, after you're 3 years into the process. Check the course. That's really important. Go to the website, look at the modules, and actually tell yourself, can I do this for 3 or 4 years? If that uni is not the one for you, for example, Cambridge is very theoretical. They have very few coding, live coding demonstrations during the course. It's more about the theory behind it. If that doesn't interest you, why go to Cambridge for 4 years, even if the name is incredible? So for example, Imperial on the other hand is really coding based. It's very practical. We do projects all throughout the term. So if that's something that interests you more, maybe apply to Imperial. Just don't look at the rankings solely. Okay, and then briefly just on the TMUA. So I think this is one of the most crucial parts of the whole process, because it's kind of annoying, I guess, if you don't do well in this exam, but essentially this is their way of kind of filtering people out prior to you sitting your A-level. So this is done at the start of year 13, so mid-October of year 13. And essentially it's a logic and reasoning paper combined with maths. The first part is A-level maths, the second part is more logic, reasoning-based questions. And the best way to prepare for those are, obviously on the website they've got the syllabus, you can look through that. But there's a book by Hodder on Amazon called the TMUA book. Definitely get that. Then actually YouTube, I'm sure like all of you use YouTube anyway. But R2 Drew 2, incredible YouTube channel. So I would say that you guys might watch YouTube in your free time, but if you sometimes dedicate like 50% of that time to watching, it doesn't have to be TMUA related videos, but there's 3 Blue, 1 Brown, there's loads of computer science, maths, technology YouTubers that kind of just build your interest and help you have something to say in your personal statement. I'd also look at MAT and STEP papers. So those are all similar levels in terms of the maths, and it's just really important that you don't look at the answers of the questions before you do them. That's kind of the easiest way to tell yourself that you're doing work, but you've just looked at the answers, so you're not really learning. So I guess the key point is, do as many questions as you can, look around, and after you get stuck, it's fine to look at the answers. Make sure you speak to someone, ask people if you don't understand how to get to the solution. Okay, and now briefly I'm going to talk about the personal statement. So personal statement is really crucial, obviously. I would say that admissions test is more important, but personal statement at these top universities is something they do glance over. And I guess the key thing which I've highlighted is projects. So computer science is one of those fields where the best way of showing your knowledge is by doing something, right? And nowadays it's incredibly easy to literally pick up YouTube, follow a tutorial. You don't have to understand all of it, but as you watch these tutorials, they'll explain it on the side, and you're building a project in real time. So whether you've never coded before, just pick up maybe a Python tutorial to code a chatbot, or whatever it might be. Follow a tutorial, you'll really understand, and you'll build a project to write about. I would say that there's loads of competition, so even if you don't know how to code, there's some beginner challenges, such as the Perth Coding Challenge, very, very beginner friendly. Or if you love maths, the UKMT, I'm sure some of you have done the JMT, the SMC, those maths challenges are incredible. They're really good to kind of build those skills outside of the A-level syllabus. I won't go through all of the rest, you can kind of read it, and I'm happy to speak about it in the questions. There's different things like, if you like reading about technology, how about you start your own blog, start your own small website, and just start writing about things you're interested in. Maybe start a podcast, whatever it might be, where it kind of makes you stand out from the rest of the people applying, and also develops your own interest. Okay, so I won't go through this. This is just an example of my personal statement. If anyone has questions at the end, we can go through like a few of the tips I have. But the key thing I would say is you want to have themes in your personal statement. So for example, I'm really interested in healthcare technology. So I did one whole paragraph on healthcare technology, then another one on maths and computer science. So I would say just, try and pick themes and do projects based around those themes.
So this is what your possible path will look like. So in first year of university, basically you'll have a lot of assignments and a lot of lectures as well. But your assignments, some of them won't be graded, but it's good to be on top of them and do all the non-grade assignments as well. Because this will help you understand the theory part of it. Maybe it won't be a lot of coding. The coding assignments will be graded, but the theory part of it will be really helpful if you do the non-grade assignments. And you should go to all the tech events at your university. There are different societies. For example, we have Tech Society at UCL, Data Science Society. You should go to all these events and network a lot. This is how you're going to build your network, which will help you get referrals or anything in the future for your spring weeks, summer internships, everything. And do not limit your knowledge just to university courseworks and lectures. Do a lot of courses online, as Yash said, go through YouTube videos and learn a lot of stuff that is not done in university, because university is only going to help you learn the basics. And what you need to do is you need to know the basics, learn the stuff over it, and then apply that to your jobs. And during your first year of a 3-year course or the second year of a 4-year course, you usually apply for spring weeks during this time from October to November. And these are basically 3 to 5 days inside into companies during your spring breaks. So they call you to their offices. They're like 30-40 people, 30-40 students like yourselves. And what they do is they give you an insight of how companies and how that specific company works. And they obviously, it's like if it's a technical role, then they'll also give you an insight and they'll introduce you to the team, and you can again network and make you can meet a lot of new people who have actually been in the company or in the field for like 20 years and 30 years. So this will help you a lot to gain a lot of knowledge. And if you see, this also includes like, if you do spring internships, this is going to help you fast track your application for summer internships for the next year. So if you do a spring internship, for example, at an XYZ company, when you're applying for a summer internship next year, you will not have to, you will not be, I don't think so, you'll have to be part of the first two application processes, which is basically either a video interview, like a higher view, or an online assessment. You directly get a fast track to the offline interview, which is really useful, and a lot of my friends have gotten summer internships just because of the spring internships. And if you're in a 3-year course during your second year, and if you're in a 4-year course during your 3rd year, that's when you do your summer internships. Basically, that's basically a job for 9 to 12 weeks, and you need to make sure you do well in these, because normally companies do provide return offers after your graduation. And your graduate role, so doing a computer science degree, you can go into various different fields, and you have a lot of graduate role options, which is, like, for example, few of them include software engineering, software development, you have data science, you have AI and machine learning, you have cyber security, you have quant, which is finance, and computer science together.
Just quickly on that last slide, I'm sure some of you might be sitting thinking that's so far ahead, might have to think about that, which is a good point. So what I would say is that that's really important to kind of have that ambition, but for now, in terms of what you could do now, is startups. That's sort of put at the top, because when you're applying to university, you might not have any work experience at any of these top companies. What you can do is definitely just reach out to some startup, maybe your parents know a company that you could just reach out to. Ask them, can I have maybe a few days work experience there, and just kind of shadow them or do a small project. That's really, really useful. Yeah, I guess we won't touch too much on this because we've talked about it in the first few slides, but this is UCL, this is Imperial's kind of first year syllabus or the modules that we cover. As you can tell, both of them kind of cover similar things, but what I would say is computer science is quite maths based. So I hope all of you kind of enjoy maths, at least to a certain extent, if you're applying for computer science, because I guess all the kind of the theoreticals of computer science application, whether it's machine learning or neural networks, it's all based on the mathematical principles. So we have computer systems, databases, calculus, discrete maths. I won't go into all of them, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask us at the end.
Okay, so basically tips for A levels and GCSEs. So firstly, you need to make a timetable and follow the timetable, and you need to make a realistic timetable. You cannot expect to study like 18 hours a day because that's not going to happen. So make a realistic timetable and follow it. Do a lot of revision, make notes and revise from the notes. Your textbooks are basically reference books, and they don't contain all the knowledge that you need for the exams. And there's a lot of information that is not required for the exams as well in the textbooks. So maybe reading the textbooks more than 2-3 times might waste a lot of time. So it's better to read it twice or thrice, make notes while reading it, and then use your notes to revise. And the most important tip is go through like a million past papers. So there are a lot of past papers out there. There are a lot of different websites that provide past papers from 20-30 years from now. Go through all of them, go through as many as you can, and that's where your main practice is going to come from, and that's where you're going to understand different type of questions, different logics that you're going to use to solve different questions in maths, physics, chemistry, for example, and that's how you get a really good grade at your A-levels or GCSE.
Perfect. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, feel free to ask us at the end.
Good evening, everyone. I know everyone's tired and the time is very limited as well, so I'll blitz through it. So first of all, I would like to thank Kajal for inviting me here today, and thank you to all the organizations and societies for organizing this careers workshop. So before I dive into the university timeline and the how to choose the best course, let me tell you a little bit about myself. So my name is Tushar Kumar, and I've just graduated from King's College London with a politics BSc degree this year. And when I was in my second year of university, I ran for local elections and was elected councillor. And so that meant that while studying, alongside studying, I also had the privilege of serving the people of my constituency. And I also interned as a civil servant, as a policy advisor in the civil service, which was a great experience, invaluable experience it was, and except that in the university experience I tried to make the most out of it by doing extracurricular activities and courses which I'll touch upon later in the presentation. So now, choosing your A-level subject. So I think choosing your A-level subjects is a very important time in your life, because that could potentially mean the course that you choose will be related to that, and maybe even the career you go into is related to the A-levels maybe. So when I was in year 12, I opted for English literature, mathematics, further mathematics, economics and history. So I did 5 A-levels, but in hindsight I would not recommend anyone to do more than 4 A-levels, because as someone mentioned in the previous presentation as well, it's not worth doing more than 3 or maximum 4 A-levels. The reason why I did more than 4 A-levels, I chose a broad range of A-levels, is because I was not sure what I wanted to do in university. So I thought about my strength, which was mathematics. So I chose mathematics, further mathematics and economics, and I knew that choosing an essay-based subject would be beneficial later on in life, so I chose history and English literature. But if you know what you want to do in university, then you should definitely align your subject with your A-level subjects with your university interests and the course requirements as well. So, for example, how many of you are thinking of doing accounting and finance at university? Put your hands up if you think of doing accounting and finance at university. No hands up? No accounting and finance? Okay. But if you were thinking of doing accounting and finance at university, then the requirement is that you need to have an A in mathematics. So you do need to research the course that you want to do. So which means that if you want to do accounting and finance, then you have to choose mathematics as one of your A-levels. So it's important that you research about the course requirements that you want to do in university. Now, so check university requirements before choosing, basically. So choosing a university course. So as I mentioned in the previous slide, as always, it's important to look at the requirements, but to go further into this, the first step is to think about what you want to do in the future. So, for example, if you want to go in the finance sector, then you'll probably choose a degree related to finance, finance degree or economics. But it's also worth noting that many of the degrees at university offer transferable skills. So politics is a degree which offers transferable skills, but if you want to, let's say, be a doctor, then obviously you require MBBS. But if you want to go in consulting or finance, then transferable skills are very important. And choosing a university course, so these are some of the things that you have to keep in mind. You have to evaluate the structure, look at the modules that are available, and obviously location matters a lot as well. If you want to stay in London, then you probably look at the courses available in London and the universities that are offering it, and placement opportunities as well. So King's was a very good university for me, not just academically, but also the opportunities that I offered outside the classroom as well. So some of the opportunities were civic leadership program, AKC program, enterprise awards. So you should definitely look at the different opportunities that the universities offer, and I would highly recommend everyone to join societies as well, because that is a great way of networking and upskilling yourself. So, and in a way, it's a way to give back to the community as well. So I would highly recommend everyone to join a society at your university. Now, grades and the grade requirements and career opportunities. So the grades vary by university and courses. So for example, to do politics at King's College London, you require an A-star AA, but the same course in a different university, you might require AAA or ABB. So it really depends on the university that you want to go into and the course you want to do. But generally, typically speaking, most of the competitive universities require AAB or higher, and the career paths with the politics degree. So politics is a very versatile degree because it offers insights into systems, governance, and decision making. So skills that are highly transferable. And so the career paths with the politics degree could be finance, consulting, policy advisory, corporate roles, and many more. And because the key skills that it offers are critical thinking, data analysis, and communication, which are all transferable skills. So now, university application timeline. So by year 12, you should start exploring courses that you want to study in university. Ideally, you should know what you want to do in year 12, so you can choose your A-levels according to that. But if you do not know, then you should start exploring your courses, and you should start drafting your personal statement as well. So start as early as you can, drafting your personal statement in year 13. You should finalize the course you want to do, and submit your application. And by year 13, you should have your personal statement ready, because the deadlines for most of the courses and universities, I'm trying to speak fast as fast as I can to finish it quick, but most of the universities and the courses deadline is 29th January. But if you are applying to Oxbridge, medicine, or dentistry, then the deadline changes to 15th of October. So as soon as you enter year 13, you need to start submitting your application and finalizing the personal statement if you're applying to Oxbridge. In terms of post-application, so most of the universities and courses give you a direct offer, but some of them would require you to do a test and interviews, as mentioned previously as well. But if you do not get any offers, which I'm sure is not going to be the case for any of you, but if someone doesn't get any offer, then clearing is also an option to look at. So choosing your post, yeah. Thank you very much. I hope this presentation was insightful, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask me at the end.
Hi everyone, I've only got 2 minutes, so I will be as quick as I can. I'm Anjali Shah, I'm a careers consultant at City St George's University, and I've also been head of careers at a very large French school in South Kensington. I've had 10 years experience in careers, so I have guided hundreds and hundreds of students in making decisions about A-levels, university, and now I work a lot with undergraduates and graduates. Prior to that, I worked in businesses. I was a business research strategy consultant, and I did my undergraduate in international management and French. I spent a year studying and working abroad, and those were opportunities that really opened up a lot of the experiences I had. Now I'm going to focus a little bit on post-16 options. I just want to check how many people here are doing GCSEs and how many are doing A-levels? Quite a few of you. So anything I say about post-16 options, try and think of what you would do in A-levels. I'll just say one word for those of you doing A-levels. It is a really exciting time. It's a time when you're exploring, you're thinking about what you want to do. It should be a time of excitement, okay? Now, the thing about post-16 options, when you're thinking about A-levels, what you've got to do is be very curious, okay? I'm looking at a lot of you here. Think about what your school currently offers, but be open to looking at other options to see what other colleges, other schools, other FE colleges offer, because there may be choices that may not be available to you. So that's my first tip, okay? The second thing, this is what I start with. When you're doing 10 or 11 GCSEs, there'll be lots that you like and lots you don't like. Generally, and I say this to parents as well, when a young person enjoys a subject, they're going to generally be much better at it and you're more motivated. Would you agree that, if you like something, you're more likely to do the homework? So be guided by the subjects that you enjoy, okay? The second thing is that also get review, feedback from your teachers, speak to people about how you feel you're doing in those subjects. If you've got career ideas, now we've heard about medicine, engineering, computer science, then you will kind of have to do the subjects that those degrees require. But as we've heard with other careers, actually you don't need specific subjects, and also for a lot of degrees like politics, you don't need a specific subject, business management, so you can choose a wide variety of A-levels. What I've done here, and I'm happy for these slides to be shown, is just showing you what kind of subjects you would need for A-levels if you want to do certain courses. For economics, computer science, you need maths, okay? If you are somebody who's thinking, I really enjoy physics, and I enjoy maths, but I don't know if I want to do engineering, you can still do physics and maths as an A-levels. You could choose to do economics as a third A-level, you could do psychology, you could do anything else, because the physics and maths keeps the engineering door open as you explore during year 12 and year 13, and it still keeps the door open to go into anything else, okay? So it's really being guided by, if you have ideas of what you might want to do, research those ideas as people have shared here, and be guided by that. Now, when it comes to thinking about those options, you will have a range of subjects that you've done at GCSE, such as maths and the sciences, English, you might have done a language. You know what it feels like doing them at GCSE. But you will also be introduced to a number of new subjects at A-level, like psychology or economics, and you might want to do taster lessons if your school offers them. Speak to your people in year 12 who do those subjects, but the key thing for parents as well, check the A-level syllabuses, okay? If you look at the topics in the A-level syllabuses, you get a sense of whether you're going to enjoy that subject or not. So that's really important to do. Taster lessons, speak to the teachers of those subjects, look at the curriculum before you make that final combination choice. Now, the other thing I just want to talk about is the different post-16 qualifications. Most of us know of A-levels, but there are other qualifications. There's the BTEC route, there is the T-levels route that is coming out. And I think as parents, I say this to parents a lot, please don't just focus on A-levels. Think about which learning style suits your son or daughter, and sometimes a combination is not a bad thing, because many of these qualifications, such as the BTECs and T-levels, will also open doors to university. So I think it's very much about being guided by what you enjoy, what you're good at. If you have career ideas, look at what subjects you need. If you don't have career ideas, think about ways to keep your options open and look at the list, refer to the list of subjects I've given you. Do look at university websites just to get a sense of what you might do. Now finally, this is just some of my advice. So use trusted resources, and I've given you resources here to help you think through A-level choices, such as there's the UCAS Discover, which has lots of guides on different subjects. You can look at Informed Choices. It's a fantastic website which has been developed by the Russell Group of Universities, which allows you to pick 3 different subjects, and it tells you what that can lead on at university, okay? Speak to your teachers. If you have a career service, please use your career service. And speak to sixth form staff, get an idea of how it feels to do that subject. Post 16, post 18, it's not just university now, that's an option. Degree apprentices are fantastic. There's school leaver programs. A lot of the accountancy firms now do school leaver programs. So for those in year 12, please look wider than just university, because there are some fantastic other options available as well. The great thing is you can apply to university and you can apply to these other choices. Now, the other things that I really encourage any of you, whether you're year 11, 12, 13, SpringPod is a fantastic virtual work experience site, okay? If you're thinking of law, it will allow you to actually immerse yourself in law. If you're thinking of engineering, medic, or psychology, it's a fantastic resource. Invest in Education is a paid work experience, but they do some really good programs, particularly in medicine, engineering. They have some really good programs. But use your own initiative, get some work experience, shadow people if you can. That's going to inform you about whether you yourself can see yourself doing that career. Now, one thing I want to just resonate with everybody else, be open, be curious. Some of the jobs you are going to be applying for do not yet exist. The world is changing, okay? But today shouldn't overwhelm you, today should inspire you. All of you young people, you've got such great opportunities ahead of you. Be curious, be open, and just really, really ask, exchange, research, so that you can find what's right for you. Each of you is an individual, and what's right for you will not necessarily be right for somebody else, okay? I'm gonna just say, there's just some things for you to think about, so do your research, okay? Think about what you enjoy, and think about, as I said, if you've got career ideas, what are the combinations required? If you don't, what keeps your options open? And get experiences, whether it's virtual, whether it's physical, but be really, really excited about what's to come for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, we have to cut it short, but I think we've been told to kind of leave the premises very shortly. Big thank you to the whole panel, the counsellor, Hartsmere, all the wonderful students from UCL, Jain Society, Imperial College. You know, when I was young, we never had a Jain Society or anything like that. It's so nice to have all these wonderful people teaching us, inspiring us. Big thank you to Kajal, head teacher of SCVP, who's worked tirelessly with Dev and Ayan for the last 2 weeks, night and day, trying to prepare the whole program. So wonderful, let's give them a big all the young, inspiring students, get up. All the students. All the ones that are under 18 or under 20. Big thank you to all of you and all the parents who've kind of supported all the wonderful children today and keep inspiring them and supporting them. And whatever choices you make from now on, whatever we've learned from the wonderful students, it's amazing. But in life, sometimes things might not go right, yeah? Like they've mentioned in the timeline, yeah? Some things might not go the way planned. You might not get the right GCSEs, you might not get the right A-levels, you might not get the degree, yeah? And if it doesn't work out, it's also fine, yeah? Because some of the most successful people in this world haven't had anything, but yet they're billionaires, yeah? So don't worry too much. In life, if it doesn't happen, it's fine. But we always inspire ourselves We always try and find something that will make it work in the future. Look at yourselves, look at what your passion is, what you really want. Can you help somebody? Yeah, whatever you decide to do, whatever degree, whatever course, whatever job, what can you achieve from it? Yeah, will you be helping other people from it? Will you get up when you're 25, 24, 26 years old and be so happy to get to work, to make a difference in someone else's life? If you make a difference in someone else's life, then that's a positive statement. Yeah, you're doing something right. Okay, that's what you want. You enjoy your life. In the next stages of your life, the journey that goes on from now till then. We wish you all luck, happiness, joy. Keep doing the best you can, and don't worry too much, don't stress, but enjoy the journey. That's what we can say. Thank you so much.